Hi everyone, welcome to Create a Space for Love. Transform your home environment and mindset to attract the romantic love you desire. I'm your host Katie Tai, and today I have the pleasure of interviewing Liesel Rigsby. Liesel, welcome. Thank you for being here.
I'm glad to be here. Thanks, Katie.
Awesome. Liesel is known as the energetic matchmaker for her ability to intuitively see what women need to shift in order to build a life of deeply fulfilling and lasting love. She is the creator of internationally renowned Soulmate School, a 6-week course designed to help women fall in love with themselves and clear their energetic blocks to divine partnership. She has helped women all over the world create loving, connecting relationships. Liesel is a gifted spiritual teacher who was a college professor for many years before she decided to follow her heart and change careers. She supports women in finding love through her public speaking, online courses, personal retreats, live events, and private coaching. Awesome. So if you want, I'll just jump right into the questions and we can start chatting.
That sounds great.
Sounds great. Okay. So how did you get to be in the position where you're an expert on relationships?
Well, it started with my own journey in relationships. So from the time that I was 15 until I was in my early 30s, I had series of dysfunctional relationships, one upon the other, upon the other, upon the other. And every time I got into a relationship, I would lose myself completely and I would morph into whatever I thought that person wanted me to be. So my boyfriend in high school was a jock, and so I became the baseball statistician, and I was really into that and got really into sports. And then my next boyfriend was a surfer, so then I became a surfer girl and grew my hair really long. And then the next boyfriend was a grunge rocker. This is in the early 90s. So I dyed my hair burgundy, got tattoos, Doc Martens, and then a sailor, then cleaned up again, got blonde, started sailing. And each time I would completely change in order to try and get the love that I needed. And what happened was I lost myself completely, or actually really never knew myself in that process. And the relationships never worked out. There was a lot of dysfunction, and mostly because I was completely unaware of myself. And the last relationship I had, I ended up gaining 25 pounds, eating junk food, smoking cigarettes, and just being really miserable. And we were so unhappy, or I was so unhappy, that our friends just refused to hang out with us because the relationship was so bad. So I was living in a city that I hated. I had a job that I hated, in the worst relationship of my life. And I was 31 at that point, and all my friends were getting married. And it was a really rough time, and I finally decided to end that relationship because I just looked around and thought, I'm so miserable and I'm so unhappy. And I had this realization of, what am I doing to create this repeating drama over and over and over again? What am I doing that I'm attracting all of this dysfunctional relationship into my life? And so I broke up with him and I went on an inward journey, and I decided I am going to figure myself out. I'm going to learn what's going on, how I've created these patterns, because I knew that by that point I had learned and knew that we attract a direct reflection of our own internal vibration and how we're feeling within ourselves. So I went on that discovery, and I spent a lot of time learning about intuition, learning about myself, doing inner healing. And then I got to a place of feeling like, okay, I feel like I'm ready now, and I can have a healthy relationship because I love myself and I'm content and I'm happy in my life. And so I sat on the beach one day. I was up in Central California watching some friends surf, and I said, okay, God, I'm ready. I'm ready for my partner. I'm ready to open my heart to love. I'm ready to have a man who will bring more of me into my life. And 6 weeks later, I had my first date with my husband, Craig, and we got engaged a year after that and married a year later. And we have been married. We're celebrating our 13th wedding anniversary in May.
Wow.
And honestly, more in love with him than I've ever been. So I know I found the right partner. And then through that journey, I was doing intuitive healing sessions and got into doing healing work and readings, and found that all of my clients started ending up in these really healthy, happy relationships. And so I looked back and looked at the steps that I had taken in my own life to find my partner, and then the steps that I was taking these clients through. And then that evolved into Soulmate School, which is my online program, which is 6 signature steps to attract your soulmate. So that's how it all evolved, was through my own journey, and then through the journey I took my private clients through.
I love that. And that 6 weeks, that's an amazing manifestation.
Yeah.
Congratulations on your upcoming anniversary as well.
Thank you. Thank
That's
you.
awesome. Awesome. So you're known as the energetic matchmaker. What does energy have to do with relationships?
Yeah. So we all have an energetic resonance within us. We all have an energetic field within us. And there's more and more research now showing what they've known in the East for a really long time, that we have this measurable, unseen field around us. And you know, when you walk into a room and you meet someone and there's just an automatically like, ooh, I got a bad vibe from that person, or you have that feeling of like, this is not a good situation, or you meet someone and there's just an automatic welcoming, like, oh, I really like them. And you could have the same exact, hi, nice to meet you, smile, presence, but you can feel whether you are attracted to that person or not, whether it be a friend or a potential partner or colleague. There's an energetic match, like, oh, I want to know this person more. And so what we've learned is that through clearing your energy fields and through getting the subconscious blocks up to the surface and moved out, there is an ease that happens in attracting partnership. So we attract what is a direct reflection of how we feel inside. And sometimes that's hard to hear, because I know for me that was hard to hear, because when I was really overweight and in this really dysfunctional relationship with a very misogynistic person, it was like, oh, that's not my fault, that's his fault, right? There's like that tendency to want to say it's out there. But really what's exciting about that moment where I said, okay, this is about me, I'm creating this. What is it in me that doesn't love myself and is really putting up with this or calling this in? And it's exciting then when we get to that place, because that's where the real power is. Because when you transform yourself and you transform your inner vibration and you transform your energetics, the external world matches that. So I work intuitively and I work using energy to help people to shift things that are stuck, that are subconscious, that are blocks that they may not be aware of.
Yeah. Amazing. Excuse me. What are the biggest mistakes that single women make trying to find love?
Well, I think one of the biggest mistakes is to think that it's about the outward appearance, or that it's about this external environment, right? To say like, oh, well, I need to lose 10 pounds, or I've got to get really fit, or I need to have the right haircut, or I need to be on the right online dating service, or I've got to be at the right bar, or whatever it is, like this idea that there's something right that you can do externally in the world that will guarantee that you meet your partner. And really, the true work is inner work, because what quality men find most attractive is a woman who feels really good about herself, who's really confident inside, internally, like in that deep resonant place. And so there's this idea that this external fix is going to happen, and we're marketed to it all the time. We're constantly being told, like, be thinner, be younger, get Botox, whatever it is, and that will make you attractive to a man. But really, what makes you really attractive to what I'm assuming your listeners are looking for, which is a quality man who's heart connected, is that sense of valuing yourself, of knowing who you are and loving yourself and letting that shine out. And we'll share that in a little bit when I'll give you a meditation for that in a little bit on how to shine that light and be in that. But I think that's really, one of the biggest mistakes that women make is that external. Focusing on the external instead of the internal. The second thing is really getting into that place of neediness or desperation, and that happens a lot where when a woman is single and she really wants to be partnered, especially if her biological clock is ticking, there tends to be this needy or grabby energy, or this like, I really want it. And I've talked to so many single men who say, oh, I can feel that a mile away. Like, I can feel a woman who's ready to get married and have a baby, and there's a pulling back. Yeah, they're like, ooh. So that desperation or that clinginess is something that is really challenging, because when you really want a relationship, that energy can come into play, and it's hard to shift it without using energetics. And so that's something I teach as well, is how to bring your energy back to yourself and be full in your own light, so that you're magnetizing, not pushing away.
Yeah. I love that you said that too, because both of what you just said. As far as looking too far outward, right? Instead of inward, I feel like as a society we look outwards a lot for external happiness. We're thinking that that's going to bring us there, but what we end up doing is kind of leaving ourselves behind and feeling very empty. At the end of the day. So
Yes.
Yes, the inner journey is the most important one. I agree.
Yes. Yeah. And it's the one that makes the big difference because, again, you're going to see your inner journey reflected in your external reality so much more than you are if you're just focused on that external. Yeah.
Awesome. So speaking of outer beauty and inner radiance,
Mhm.
what is the difference, and what are some practical tools to be in more of a radiant state?
Yeah. So to me, I define radiance as someone who's really glowing from the inside out. Like, if you've seen women who, sometimes you'll see a woman who's really beautiful by society standards, but she's unhappy or she's insecure or she's closed off. And she's not as attractive as someone who maybe isn't as pretty by like a model standard or a magazine standard, but she's really confident in her skin and she just walks in a room and she feels good. And men are drawn to her, and you're like, why are they drawn to her? She's not even that gorgeous or that pretty, but there's this light, this radiance, this glow. So to me, the outer beauty is really much less important. I mean, of course, you want to take care of yourself and and be healthy and give yourself the advantage of being visibly as nice as you can look, right? But because men are visual creatures, so we have that too.
Yeah.
But there's also, and more importantly, this deep light that shines in. And I've had so many clients. Can't tell you how many clients have met their partner and their men have said to them later, I saw you across the room. There was a light about you. Or I walked in and you were glowing and I noticed you right away. And so this meditation that I'll teach in a bit is really powerful. And my clients all use it when they go into social situations, and I do too, because when you go in that energetic glow, even if people aren't aware of energy, even if a man is not even tapped into that at all, there's still a match, there's still an invitation, there's still a resonance that happens on a very subtle level that is inviting that towards you.
Absolutely, and I think what you what you refer to as light and energy, and that's the way I refer to it. Other people might refer to as confidence, or that thing that intangible thing that they just like about
Mm-hmm.
another person but can't explain. So I really like
Right.
how you just broke that down.
Yeah.
Um, so I'm curious, can you share what your favorite client success story is?
Mm. Well, I'm actually officiating a wedding in July for one of my clients that I'm so happy for her. And hers really was about radiance. It's this, she tended to hide. She tended to want to, you know, be about other people, not make other people feel bad. She wanted to kind of be really giving and nurturing, and she learned not to really shine her light. And so we worked together to clear some of her blocks around that and her story around having to be small or having to hide or not wanting to outshine. That was a big one for her. She didn't want to outshine anybody else. And so she dimmed her own light. And as she cultivated her own radiance, as she cultivated her own light, she just started attracting men like crazy. Like, she was like, I would just walk down the street and my friend said to me, like, oh my God, that guy's checking you out, and that guy's checking you out, and that guy's checking you out. And then when she met her partner, he's one of the ones that I was saying that was like, he said, I saw you and there was something about you and I didn't know what it was. But I had to meet you, and went across the room, introduced himself, and that was how they met. And then, instant falling in love. And he, for her it was perfect. He's a Buddhist, he's a therapist, he's super open-hearted, really connected. And all that she thought maybe wouldn't be available, she thought she was asking for too much. She thought that she was asking for more than was possible, to have an open-hearted man who was present with his emotions, who was into spirituality like she was. And she got all of that. And it was really because she was able to clear those old stories that she had to hide, and learned how to feel safe enough and comfortable enough shining her light. And so they got engaged about a year ago, and they're getting married this summer, and they asked me to officiate their wedding. So I'm super excited to do that for them.
That is so amazing. Thank you for
Yeah.
sharing that. And also, thank you for sharing your story at the beginning there, too, because I have kind of a similar, backstory as far as, my story is that for the longest time, I didn't feel that it was safe to be myself.
Mm.
And so there was a little bit of that morphing to please other people. And then there was also just not wanting to shine, like you said,
Mm.
with regards to your client. I have a very similar story to that, where, I think, for a long time, I would, sometimes get compliments on being pretty growing up and all of that. But things changed, and after I did the work, I started getting compliments on my light and I shine. And, I'll just say that it feels really warm to receive a compliment like that from a man that you admire and that you adore. And so, to me, I mean, gosh, that's just so worth it.
Yeah.
Right. And to just also feel safe being yourself it's a relief and a release. And gosh, yeah. So I'm really happy for your client. That's amazing. And I can totally relate. So yeah, it is safe to shine.
It is safe to shine. And I think also what happens, and I'm sure you've experienced this too, Katie, is when you move into that radiance, when you move into that light and that shining, there's so many other benefits that come along too. There's a lot of synchronicities that occur, because what happens is you're actually connecting to that divine light that is surrounding us all the time. And when we're connected to that energy, it's so much easier to manifest. It's so much easier to create. I find that when I'm in that space, there's all these moments of beautiful serendipity that happen because you're connected to the flow of life. And so that might sound a little woo or a little esoteric, but if you practice it, and when we do the meditation in a little bit, you can play with it and just try going out in the world in that light, in that energy. I'm just going to go to the grocery store and try it for a few minutes and see what happens, who responds to me, how I get what kind of reactions I get. And also just to start to see, okay, I want to see if I have my whole morning, if I'm shining light and I'm being in the flow and I'm being in this radiance, what does my day look like? Versus a day where I'm just kind of going through in my default state.
Yeah, they look totally different. They really do. I remember back when I first started doing the work, I actually I manifested a job that paid me about $20,000 more than the one I had previously. That's a big shift, right?
Yeah.
And so it is definitely your love life, and that's a huge part of it. But gosh, everything else just starts to change. It's just an upward spiral of beautiful manifesting. So
yes,
yeah,
absolutely. And I think sometimes we get caught up in the physical, again, the external of like the feng shui or the altar or the vision board and the affirmations, and all of those things have their place and value. But if they aren't matched by what's going on inside, if you aren't working to fall in love with yourself more and to clear your subconscious blocks and to really uncover the things that are keeping you in a limited belief around love or whatever it is you want to create, none of that stuff works. It has to be, you have to be in resonance with what you want. So you've got to be a vibrational match for what you want to create. And that's where the inner work happens. And that's where, and it's to me, it's an adventure to go inside. And at first it's scary to take that first step. I know for me, when I kind of bottomed out after that last relationship, what am I doing in my life? And usually it takes some kind of crisis or trauma or real challenge to move us into that path of self-exploration. But that's the catalyst. So if you're in a place right now where you feel like, oh my gosh, I'm just suffering so much in this, that's actually a beautiful moment, because the reason that you're here watching this right now is because you are motivated to make a change. And that's the first step. And that's the courageous start.
Yeah, and it's totally courageous, and I think for some people it's actually just really difficult, right? I can say for myself that I'm a naturally extroverted person, so to go that deep within was something I didn't even really know how to do, per se. And there is just so much depth there, and you can always keep digging. You're always uncovering stuff. Just when you think like, oh man, I uncovered so much and I've grown so much, there's always so much more work to be done and things to uncover. So yeah.
And I think if we can look at it as a journey of discovery, like, oh, I'm going to lift up this and what's under there, and know that every time you uncover something or every time you take a step on that path, there's more light. And when there's more light, there's more manifestation, there's more joy. I mean, when I look at my life right now and I look at how happy I am in my marriage and my career and how great my daughter is and where I live, if I think about my life 15 years ago, I couldn't have imagined it being as good as it is. And I know for a fact that it's all because of the inner work that I've done over the last 15 years of digging in and really uncovering the places that thought, I can't have that, or that's too much, or I'm not good enough for that. And as you unhook from those stories and those beliefs, you can create an amazing life. And every single person has that capacity.
I love that. So we're like soul archaeologists. We just keep finding really cool stuff and brushing it off and saying, oh yeah, I'm just going to add that to my collection of cool stuff back here and move right along.
Yeah.
I love that. So question about how you your spiritual practice. How do you typically set up your space to meditate and to tap into source? What does your external space look like when you're tapping in?
Well, I used to be really structured. Like I used to have like the place that I sat and the altar and the, like really, really structured. And now I think whether it's from the time that I put into it or just more flexibility in my own, or maybe it's just age and like I'm just more free with it. But I feel like for me, sometimes like this morning I meditated in bed. I sat up and just pulled the blankets up and meditated for 15 minutes there. I often, for me, one of my biggest places for spiritual connection is in nature. Mm-hmm. So I live in Ojai, California, which is mountains all the way around. And if I go for a walk by myself, to me, that walking meditation is so powerful and such a place to connect with spirit. And we as feminine creatures, we're told that meditation is silence and stillness and coming to emptiness, but that's really, a lot of those are very masculine traits. Mm-hmm. And to me, accessing spirit in the feminine has a lot of movement and a lot of play. And so I find even dance for me, or music, singing, movement, yoga, nature, all of those places also open me and are part of my spiritual practice, in addition to meditating, because I think that it's important to bring all that juicy feminine into it as well.
I agree. I have a hard time sitting still. So I'm admittedly not very good at the still meditations. That's something I'm working on. Yeah. But I love moving meditation, and something I love doing I love dance and hula hoop and walking and hiking in nature. I totally agree. Nature is just, the best place to meditate. Anywhere. Yes. Get outside, be with the trees, be with everything that's natural. So
yeah, I agree.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So you have a group program coming up to help women attract their soulmate. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so it's Soulmate School, and this is a program that is my signature program. It's a 6-week program to help you to clear your blocks, to open to love. So the different steps in the program, the first one is reclaiming your heart. So how to move into your heart, how to move into your confidence, and then breaking up with your love limits, looking at limiting beliefs and letting those go. Making space for love. So that's clearing out old trauma, old energies, clearing out exes. That's really important to get rid of old lovers out of your space. Mm-hmm. And then let love in is the 4th lesson, how to let that wall around your heart come down. Mm-hmm. And understanding a good man is the 5th one. Mm-hmm. And then the last one is activating your love vibration, which is a much more in-depth expansion on the radiance that we're talking about today, how to shine your light. So that starts the beginning of May. Mm-hmm. And I love teaching it. It's really a beautiful way to connect in with yourself and to learn. If you're new to energetic practices and you're new to meditation and you're curious about it and you want love, it's a great combo to get both of those parts and pieces.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing. I'm checking it out. Yeah. And now, do you want to do the 30 seconds to radiance meditation?
Yeah. So this is a meditation that, it'll take us a little longer than 30 seconds to learn it. Once you practice, you can do it in 30 seconds. And so this is a practice that I use anytime that I feel a little stuck, or if I'm going to go on a date with my husband, or if I'm going to do some public speaking, or even going into a party. I'll do this meditation, and it makes a massive difference in how I feel walking in people's reaction to me, in what I draw into my life. So this is a great one to use when you're getting ready to go on a date, or if you're going to a party, or if you're going to be even at the gym or the grocery store, any place where you might potentially meet someone, and to be open to that happening anywhere. I've had a couple of clients meet their partner in the grocery store. So really, like letting that opportunity for shining your light to happen, giving yourself that opportunity anytime. So I'm going to have you close your eyes, and I'll guide you through this practice, and then I'll show you how to do it quickly. So we'll do it kind of the long way first, and then I'll talk you through just the quick steps. Okay? So go ahead and close your eyes and take some deep breaths. Good. And begin by bringing your focus and your awareness to the base of your body, your hips, your legs, your feet. And imagine that you're a tree growing roots down, down, down through the floor of the building that you're in, into the earth, all the way down. And even if you have a hard time visualizing, simply intend that you're growing roots like a tree and let your 5-year-old mind come out to play. Just imagine, like a little kid would imagine that they were a tree growing roots. And then send one long root from the midline of your body, almost like you're growing a tail off your tailbone, straight down into the center of the earth. And you can attach a weight to it if that feels good, just to help you start to ground. So this process brings you into your body. It connects you to the earth. It connects you to presence. It moves you into parasympathetic, so out of fight or flight. And it's called grounding. So imagine sending that one long grounding cord, that one long root, straight down into the energetic heart of the earth. And I like to imagine a big crystal there to anchor it into. So I like to imagine tying that grounding cord off to a crystal. But you can imagine anything at all that feels anchoring to you. You can just imagine a big heavy weight on the end. You can imagine tying off to a hitching post or a tree, anything at all. Your imagination creates it. So we're looking at the energetic heart of the earth, not the literal, but the energetic. And feeling really centered as you get grounded there. And sometimes this takes some practice, so if it feels a little bit challenging at first, just come back. You can watch this again or listen again and keep connecting back to that grounding cord. It's like building a muscle or learning to play an instrument. And now keeping that grounding cord firmly attached, imagine a star way above your head. And that star represents the heart of Source, the heart of the All, the heart of God, the heart of the universe, whatever word resonates for you the most. And let golden light pour down from that star into the crown of your head and through the midline of your body, all the way down to that grounding cord. So there's one continuous connection from the heart of the earth through you into the heart of Source, and from the heart of Source through you into the heart of the earth. And again, if this feels a little challenging at first, just know that you're learning, and with practice it will get easier and easier each time. So now here's the radiance piece. So this is the setup to get you settled and ready for energetic work. And now I want you to imagine a big golden sun floating above your head. And this golden sun is the magnet for your radiance, for your light. And I want you to imagine that this golden sun is drawing all of your radiance back to you, anywhere where you might have left it, anywhere where you might have hid your light, or had your light taken from you, or lost your light in trauma, or challenging heartbreaks. And I want you to imagine little golden balls of light that are your radiance, your light, your energy flying towards that golden sun above your head. And let that golden sun get really full of you. You're calling yourself back to you. You're calling your light back to you. You're calling your radiance back to you. And now imagine poking a hole in the bottom of that sun and letting that golden light pour into the top of your head. And to me, it always feels like warm honey pouring in. And let that radiance pour through your body. Let it pour down to your toes and your ankles and legs, through your knees into your thighs. Let it pool at your sexual center. You want to let your radiance really sit there. And moving up through your torso, almost like you're a hollow vessel being filled with your light. Moving into your arms and your hands and your fingers. Letting this liquid gold light move into your face, and the top of your head. And then let it expand and fill the space around you. We have an energy field around our body, about 1 meter to 3 feet off our body. And let that gold light fill up all of that space around you. And then if you feel a little bit nervous about shining your light, or if this is new, you can create a little boundary. So just imagine a crystal shell, like an eggshell, around the outside. So your light can shine through, it's transparent. But you also have a little bit of protection, not letting anyone else's energy into your space. But owning all of your space with this golden light. Let yourself really feel it moving through you. Imagine your heart pumping this golden radiance through your veins. And every cell in your body is vibrating with your light. And then take a deep breath. And move your fingers and your toes. And keeping that connection to that light, open your eyes.
That was beautiful. Thank you, Liesel.
You're welcome.
I love your meditations. They're like my favorite. Amazing. Amazing.
Wow. You actually look different. I don't know if those of you who are watching can see the difference, but there's a glow.
I'm a little brighter.
Yeah, there's brightness. So when you want to do it quickly, just practice with the grounding cord. That's if nothing else that you get from today, being grounded makes you more attractive because you're in your body, you're present, you're here. So practice that grounding cord regularly. And then you just imagine that column of light and imagine that big golden sun above your head. Call your radiance back. Whoop, let it fill you. So the more you practice it, you can do it really quick. I can do it like, 15, 20 seconds now. So and it will lighten you up and give you a sense of like, oh, I'm good. Everything's good here. I don't need to be nervous. I don't need to be stressed. I can be confident in this light that I am.
That's beautiful. Thank you so much, Liesel.
You're so welcome.
Well, I think we'll wrap up now. And everyone, Liesel has been very generous and she's offered us a gift today. Liesel, do you want to just talk briefly about what that is?
Yeah, so the gift that I have is called Clear Your Energetic Blocks to Love. And so this is learning how, when I talked about that desperate, needy energy earlier, this is an article and a meditation to help you to pull your energy back to yourself and to really stand in more confidence and be a magnet, calling that energy towards you instead of pushing away. So this is a great tool as well to use anytime you are dating or even thinking about someone or being attracted to someone. It's something I use with my partner all the time. If ever I'm feeling like I want more attraction from him, I want him to come towards me, I just pull my energy back off of him and use this light. So it's a really powerful tool. And you'll find it at clearyourblockstolove.com.
There's a link below the video too. You can click there. Yeah. Great. All right. Well, thanks, Liesel, and thanks, everyone.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having me, Katie. It was fun.